Loves, and welcome back to my channel. I am with Ijoma. So in today's video we are going to learn how to make the full dress that you saw in the thumbnail. But for this video, this is the part one, so this is just the cutting aspect of the dress. But here is the train. I am done cutting out the train, and I will still show you guys how I made the full dress. I will show you how I cut both the up and the down and the train as well. So guys, please keep on watching. So the first thing that we are going to do is to cut out the down part. The down part of this dress is A-line. So I'm cutting out everything. I'm cutting out the down parts of this dress on the floor because my table cannot contain the length of this dress. So cutting it on the floor will give you space to cut everything you want the way you want it to be. So first of all, I'll fold my fabric, and I am done folding. I'll cut out the front parts first of all. So from the half length, I'll subtract my half length. I placed 17 at the half length. Then from there, I marked from shoulder to hip, shoulder to knee, and then the full length. I told you guys that the full length is 78, but I made it 18 inches. So the tape that I'm using is a 120 inches tape. This is a 120 inches tape rule. That's why I have everything on this tape. So I will go ahead and rule the lines for the hip line, the knee line, and the full length of this dress. So after that, I'll go ahead and take my waist measurements. That is my waist divided by 4 plus 2 inches seam allowance. The waist of this dress is 30 divided by 4. That is 7.5 plus 2 inches seam allowance, and that would be 9.5. But you can make it 10 if you want to. So I'll mark that. Then the hip is 47 divided by 4 plus 2 inches. I will go ahead and mark what I got. Then at the knee, I will just divide the 47 by 4, and whatever I got, I'll mark it on the knee. So I'll connect the hip to the waist, and then from the waist to the knee, I'll go ahead and connect from the hip to the knee. Sorry, I connected from the hip to the waist, and then from the hip to the knee. Then from there, I will go ahead and make my A-line shape. I'll make my A-line shape. So if you have a long ruler, this will be easy for you. So I am marking my A-line shape, and when I reach the down part, I will come up by like 3 inches from the side. I'll come up by like 3 inches and then curve the side. So after that, I'll go ahead and cut it out, and you can see what I have right there. So I am folding another fabric for the back, and the back will be longer than the front because the back will have a tail or train depending on what you guys call it. So you can see I placed my front on the back. Then from the side, I will draw out the shape of my train or my tail. Then I added 2 inches seam allowance. Then when I reached the knee length, I marked an A-line shape for the tail as well. So you guys can see what I have right there. After doing that, I'll go ahead and cut out the tail or the train. Then I'll cut out the side. After cutting out the side, I'll cut out the zipper allowance and then the train. So that is all. And guys, remember to add a lining to this dress. But if you want to sew it without a lining, fine, you can still make it without a lining, but I want to add lining to mine. So I am done doing that. I'll go ahead and open the front part. This A-line dress has a slit at the front, so I have opened the front part, and I will determine the mid part of this waistline. So I placed it and I determined the mid part of the waistline. Then from there, I measured 4 inches to the left. 4 inches to the left. Then you will subtract your half length and then measure where you want your slit to stop at. So my client wants the slit to stop at 35 inches, and I'll go ahead and mark my 35 inches. Then I will mark a straight line down. After that, I'll go ahead and open the slit area. This is how I want it to be. But if you want your own slit to be higher or lower, you can as well go ahead and do that. Remember, the slit should be on the left hand side. So that is it. Right now, I want to cut out my train. So the train, you don't have to make a straight gather, no. First of all, you cut a triangular flare. You can see how I'm folding this flare. It has a triangular shape. Then I'll go ahead and cut out like a, let's say, 8 inches radius. Then from there I measure 70 inches for the full length of the train. The full length of the train that I used is 70 inches. So this area where I'm marking right now is 70 inches, and you can see that this flare is a triangular flare. Then I'll go ahead and cut this out. So after cutting it out, I'll place it on my body to show you guys. So this is just one. I will go ahead and cut out another one. I want it to be double. If you have enough fabric, I think you should cut it 3 times, but I am using 9 yards for this dress. But if you have money, you can buy like 10 yards so that your train will be very, very full. So I'll go ahead and cut out another one. I want it to be 2. So after cutting the 2 of them, I'll go ahead and cut out their lining. You can see how it looks. It is fuller now. And if you add another one, that is, if you add number 3, it will be more full. So this is what I have right now, and I will cut out a lining for them. I want to add lining to every part of this dress so that it will look fuller and stronger. So guys, I forgot to tell you guys that this material that I'm using, the fabric that I'm using, is called a Duchess fabric. So this is a Duchess fabric, and I used 9 yards for this style. So I am done doing that. You can see the back part. I have cut out the lining for the back part. You can see I have 4 pieces there, the main fabric and the lining. So I'll also show you guys the front part. I also cut out the lining for the front part. So I want to do an inseam finishing for the lower part of this dress. Here is the front part. I have cut out the lining, but I did not open the lining. Like, I have not opened the slits on the line for the lining. There's no slits on the lining, you can see it. So what I'll do right now is to join the front part and the back part separately. That is for the fabric. And after joining that separately, I will join the front and the back of the lining separately as well. So first of all, I will close my zipper allowance for the back. I will go ahead and close my zipper allowance for the back. So after closing your zipper allowance, you can now go ahead and shape the front and the back. So I want to take out 1.5 inches for the zipper allowance for the back. So I want to mark it so that it will be noticeable. So I'll go ahead and close the zipper allowance, and I'll also close the tail area. I'll do the same thing on the lining for the back. This is the lining for the back. So I'll also go ahead and close the zipper allowance and the tail area of the back. So you can see how it looks. I am done closing the zipper allowance, and I will place my front on the back. After placing them, I will go ahead and pin. So guys, if you are sewing this, please remember to use your pins. Using your pins will make this job very easy for you, especially if you are using a velvet. This is a thick Duchess. It is not too thick, but it is thick. So first of all, I'll pin everything, especially around the waist and around the hip area. Then I will go ahead and take my waist measurements. I'll mark my waist measurements, and I'll also mark my hip measurements. So guys, this dress is very long, but due to the camera, like looking at it from the camera, it is not too long, but in real life it is really, really long. So I'll go ahead and shape the waist and the hip. That is for the main fabric. And after that, I'll also go ahead and shape my lining separately. So this is the back part of my lining. I'll place the front part on it, and I'll go ahead and measure my waist measurements and my hip measurements. So a little trick that I normally use when doing an inseam finishing is that if I mark 20 on the main fabric, I'll mark 21 on the lining. I want the lining to be free than the fabric itself. So I measured 47 inches on the hip for the main fabric, but I measured 48 inches on the hip for the lining. So here is the train. I have cut out the lining for my train. This is the first train, and this is the second train. So I'll separate the main fabric from the lining, then I'll go ahead and join the main fabric together. Like, I cut out two triangular flay. I'll go ahead and join the two of them together. That is for the main fabric. I'll also join the train for the lining as well. So I'll go ahead and join them at the side. I'll join from the side. So after joining, this is what I have. You can see a line at the center, so remember to iron it. So you go ahead and gather this around the waist area. Let me show you guys. So this is it. You can see the joining at the center. I will go ahead and gather it on my body. So if you gather it on your body, the rest of it will flow very, very well. So had it been you cut out this flay 3 times, that means this flay will be way fuller. It will be very, very full, and when you gather it around the waist, it will look very good. But that should be for people that are using from 10 years and above, because you don't really need a lot of joining on this train area. The joining at the center or at the side is okay. So if I spread it, you can see what I have right there. So this is it for the train. If you want, you can turn your own train with a crinoline, but I want to turn mine with a lining. If you want, you can also add a crinoline in between the lining and the main fabric itself. So this is what I have here. So that is it for the train part. I'll still show you guys later when sewing everything. So right now we'll go ahead and cut out the upper part. So for the upper part, I will use the same fabric, and it will have a princess dart. I want to do a princess dart bustier for this. You mark my shoulder. If your shoulder is 15, please make it 14, because this is a sleeveless dress. I want to make mine a sleeveless. Then from there, you mark your bust points, your under bust, your half length, and your allowance. My half length is 17. If you want, you can make your half length to be a bit lower than the normal half length. So I'll go ahead and rule these lines. Like I said, let's say your half length is 19. If you want, you can make it 20. If your half length is 16, if you like, you can make it 18 or 17 so that it will come down a bit. So I am done ruling these lines, and I'll also go ahead and mark my chest line. So from my shoulder, I will mark 8.5 inches, and that will be my chest line. So I'll connect from the shoulder to that chest line. Then I will go ahead and mark my armhole line. So here is my armhole line. The next thing that I'll mark is the neck width. This is a high neck, so I'll mark 4.5 for the wideness of the neck, and I'll mark 2.5 inches or 3 inches, but I marked 2.5 for the neck depth because I really want the high neck to be very, very high. So this is what I have right there. I'll also go ahead and mark my shoulder slant. So after that, I'll go ahead and measure my nipple to nipple. First of all, you come down by 4 inches from the armhole, then mark 4.5 at the nipple to nipple, 4 at the under bust. Mark 4.5 at the bust point, 4 at the under bust, 4 at the half length, and 4 at the allowance. Then you connect the 4 to the 4.5, and from there you connect to the 4 at the armhole. I came down by 4 inches from the shoulder around that armhole area. So at the under bust, I subtracted just 2 inches because I don't want my cup or my bra to be too curvy. I subtracted just 2 inches, and you can see I marked my darts, my armhole darts, and then I connected to the original chest line. So I'm not trying to explain this princess darts in details. I just want to show you guys how I got my high neck and how I also did my breast curve. I used only 2 inches for the breast curve because I don't want the cup to be too obvious. I want it to be very normal while looking at it. So here is the breast curve. I'll go ahead and cut out my armhole, and after cutting out my armhole, I will place this center front on the side. Then remember to notch your under bust. And guys, when sewing this, I don't think that we use a normal wadding. I don't think I'll do that. I'll either use a bra cup, or I will add a hard gum to the lining itself, but I don't want to add a pad to it. It will not be very smooth after joining and ironing. So you go ahead and take your waist measurements and your bust measurements. After taking that, you go ahead and connect and then cut out. So after cutting out this front, you will use it and cut out your back part. So you go ahead and fold your fabric again. You will cut out the center back first of all, and after cutting the center back, you will cut out the side of the back. So guys, please do not forget to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up so that more people can get to see it. Subscribe so that when I upload this sewing video, you'll be able to access it. You'll be able to see the video. So guys, this sewing video will be very, very detailed, and it will have a lot of sewing techniques. So thank you guys for watching, and see you in my next video. Please do not forget to subscribe. So right now I'll cut out the side of the back, and that is all for now. So I'll upload the part 2 very, very soon. See you guys later. Bye.